Hello everybody, welcome in. This is A Programmer Plays Master Key. We're getting right back into the nonograms once more. It's been a little while and I just felt like it, so let's do it. First though, let me turn this volume down. Goodness gracious. Alright. Nonogram 46. Alright, we got 10 wide and 14 tall. It's some nice zeros to start us off. So, we know that there's nothing on that row. We also can now look at our vertical column and we can say, hey, there's going to be nothing on a lot of these. Can't fit any of these vertical 2s here. We got 1, 1 there, so maybe there. And now, looking at our horizontal 2, we know that those 2 ones have to be here. Phenomenal. Got something already. Looking at this, we've got a horizontal 8. We know that there's only 2 pixels of wiggle room on that, so these middle 6 have to be filled in. Same story here. And here. So that gives us our some data to work with. Same thing with the 6. We know that the 6, there's going to be 4 pixels of wiggle room, so these 2 middle pixels have to be filled in. Same story here, and same story here, but we can go a step further with this one. With this one, 1, 6, 1, that works out to be 10 pixels total. So 1 with a blank, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, blank, 1. There we go. We can use that to extrapolate that there's going to be nothing here or here because we've got this vertical 2 and it just couldn't reach. Same story over here. And looking vertically, we've got 9, 2, 2, or I'm sorry, 9, 2, 1. Well, this has to be our 2 right here. And that also now gives us a full docket for the rest of our 9. So beautiful. That lets us close off this row here. Okay. Because we've removed a pixel from each side of this 6, that now gives us 1 more pixel of certainty. We can expand this out, and that now tells us this vertical 8, 2, well, that's our 2, and we can figure out the rest of our 8 here. So, on the bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then same story over here. And that actually gives us a ton of information about all of these because we already know all that stuff. We've already filled in all the pixels. Looking here, we've got a vertical 4, 2. Well, the pixel here couldn't be filled in because then it'd be a 5. That means it has to be here and here, or here. Same story here and here. All right. We've already completed this horizontal 6. This 8 has to be here. This 8... I'll leave alone for a second. This 6 we've already filled in. This 8 has to be here, which then lets us look at our vertical 2, 2. Well, this has to be one of those 2s. That 2 horizontally has to be like this. That completes this one. That means that our 8 has to be like this. Damn. Tall mushroom, I think? Yeah, tall mushroom. So, there we go. Nonogram 46. On to nonogram 47. 14 wide and 12 tall. That means that there's 4 pixels of wiggle room on this 10 we've got. Oh, that's not supposed to be there. And with these vertical 1s, that means that this has to be like that. We can go a little further, but we'll hold off for a second. We've also got this 1, 10, 1. Well, that only fits in one way. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, x1. Beautiful. With that in place, we can start doing some deductions about this vertical 5. Like that. That's pretty much it. But we can do the same thing over over here, that actually does help us a fair bit, because now we've got a fairly limited bit of space for our 6 to fit in. Our 6 has 2 pixels of wiggle room inside of this space, so we know that that's in there, and that lets us actually block out a whole lot down here because we got those vertical 1s, so it couldn't fit on there. It does mean that one of the 3s has to fit here and one of them has to fit here, which does give us on the horizontal 3s there. And because there's only the 5 on here, well, we've now got a top and bottom for our 5, so that is great for us. With that in place, that also gives us some edges for our 2s over here. 2 couldn't reach over to here, couldn't reach over to here either. We know that this 10 is continuous, so that locks that in. I think that actually completes our 10, yeah. So there we go, there's our 10 on that one. Beautiful. Looking vertically, we've got a 3-2, couldn't fit a 3 or a 2 right there. Same story right here. And looking horizontally, we've got that 1, 1, 1, 1. Well, those have to be 1s, so we can go ahead and close those off. With that in place, we can look at our vertical 1, 3. Well, this has to be the 1. There we go, and the 3 has to be like that. And we can do the same over here, because this is a symmetric design. With that in place, that means that we now know exactly where our 6 goes. Beautiful. And we can also look at these pixels here and say, that can't be part of our horizontal 3, 3. Horizontal 3, 3 has to be like this. That now lets us look at our vertical 1, 6 and say, we've already got our 1 here and here. We can also say, hey, our 6 we've got a fair bit of. We can go ahead and fill in all these pixels for that, and these pixels. That gives us 5 of the 6 pixels there, and we know that those 2 can't be filled in because the 6 just couldn't reach vertically. We also now can look at these horizontal 1s on the left and right side. Means we can go ahead and blank all this stuff out, which is great. Looking vertically, we've got this vertical 3, 2. Well, the 3 is only going to fit one way in that, which also completes a couple rows for us. And there's only 2 pixels left open, so that's got to be our 2s right there and there. Looking horizontally, we've got these 1, 1s. Well, we've already filled those in, so we're done there. That's done, and that now gives us the rest of these vertical 6s. With that in place, still got these nothing but 1 columns, so we can go ahead and X those out. We also know that this is done ski, so we can go ahead and X that out, which lets us know that this is good. This horizontal 1, 8, 1, well, these have to be part of the 8, so that's going to go there. Still nothing but 1s here. Wait, I think that was an error. Yeah, that was also an error. This one we've got vertical 1, 1, 1, 2. Well, we've got 1, 1, 1, and this has to be part of the 2. Same story right here because it's symmetric. And now we've got this horizontal 1, 4, 1. Well, only 4 pixels left. Boom. Done. A harp? Staircase. Or a ladder. Come on, brain. Ladder down into a hole. Beautiful. Horizontal 13, vertical 12 for nonogram 48. Ooh, this one's trickier. I'm gonna fill this in even though I'm not sure that it's the case. And it was the case. Beautiful. Alright, so vertical 4, 2, 1, 2 completely fills in this column. There's only one way that that could work. And with that in place, we can start narrowing down some of the possibility space here, because this 3 couldn't reach to here. Reach to there. Couldn't reach here either. And similarly, this horizontal 4 couldn't reach beyond there. The rest of these, it's still open, but that at least narrows things down for us. 3, 2, 2, 1, not quite as forgiving, I don't think. But maybe we can get somewhere with this. So if we had 1 space, 1, 2 space, 1, 2 space, then the 3 would have to fill these in. Conversely, 1, 2, 3 space, 1, 2 space, 1, 2 space, 1. So I definitely messed that up a little bit. I should have been filling some in. So sorry. 1, 2, 3 space, 1, 2 space, 1, 2 space, 1, or 1 space, 1, 2. So that pixel has to be filled in for that. That does narrow things down a little bit for us right here. We know that this 4 couldn't reach over to there. Ooh, interesting. Doesn't really narrow things down for us here, because we could have 1 here and then over. Would have got us a little ways. Let's see right here. 1, 2 space, 1 space, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we know that this pixel has to be filled in for that 4. The rest of them, there's too much wiggle room. It could go multiple ways. 1, 2 space, 1, 2 space, 1, 2, 3. So too much wiggle room for this 3, 2, 2. It's just not enough overlap. I could have figured that out without even saying it aloud, but whatever. Sometimes I'm dumb. Let's look at some of our others here. Okay, so that doesn't really help us. What about our horizontal 2, 3, 1, 2, 1? So I'm just gonna start blanking these in. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3 space. Ooh. There's a little bit of wiggle room here. 1 space, 1, 2 space, 1. Okay, so we can make some stuff quite confidently. Given that this pixel is filled in, that pretty much has to be our 1. So we can go ahead and X that out and go ahead and fill these in. Here, things get a lot loosey-gooseier. We know that these 2 pixels have to be filled in, but this 3, horizontal 3, might be over here, or it might be over here, and then this 2 might be here, or it might be over here. We just don't know. But there's just not that much wiggle room there. And we can start narrowing down some other stuff. We've got this vertical 2, so it can't reach here or here, so that narrows some things down. Helps any here, doesn't really help us here any. Ooh, here we go. We've got horizontal 2, 1, 2, 2. Well, we've already got 2 pixels here, so that locks us in on at least one of them. 2 space, 1 space. There might one of the 2s on here might be on the left of here, or maybe 2 of the 2s might be on the left of here. We just don't know yet. But looking vertically, we've got this vertical 2, 2, 2, 2. There's a pixel filled in, so this has to be a 2. Okay. And now we actually can make several assumptions here. We've got 3 2s left over. 2 of them have to be up here, and 1 of them has to be down here. No way around it. Cool. That actually lets us narrow this down a little bit more, which is good because horizontally the 4 couldn't reach over to there. And because we've X'd that out, now we can look at this vertical 3, 2, 2, and we know, okay, that can't go there. We also could have known that because we've got these 2 pixels filled in, and that means that this has to be our 3. Looking vertically, we've got this 3, 2, 2, 1. All right, so that's our 3. This has to be a 2. The other 2 has to go on either side of this. We just don't know yet. That gives us something. Looking back at this vertical 4, 1, 2, all right, well, there's only 4 pixels here, so boom, done. That also lets us complete out this row, so that gives us our completed 4. All right, we now can look at our horizontal 1, 4, 1. This has to be our 4. We've got a horizontal 1, 4, 2. Well, we couldn't fit the 4 in here. This has to be the 2. Which means that this has to be the 4. Great, and now we've completed some stuff. Looking vertically again, we've got this vertical 3, 2, 2. Well, that has to be our 3 right there. Looking vertically, we've got 2, 2. That has to be like that and that. That narrows things down a bit for us. Looking horizontally, we've got this horizontal 2, 3, 2. This has to be our 3, which means that that has to be our 2. The other 2 has to be over here. We don't know quite where yet, though. Looking vertically, we've got vertical 2, 2, 2. That has to be one of the 2s. Looking horizontally, 1, 4, 1. We've got that 1 completed. Don't know that yet. We could look at this and say, hey, 3, 1. The 3 might be here, or maybe this is the 3 and the 1's over here, but either way, this pixel can't be filled in. And none of these can be filled in. We just know that those are blocked out. Looking vertically, we've got this 4, 1, 2, so 1 space 1, 2, or 1, 2 space 1. So we know that this pixel has to be filled in, which then lets us go back to that row that we were just looking at and say, okay, this can't be filled in because otherwise it'd be a 4. That means that that's our 3, can X that out, and we're done with that. Looking at our vertical 3, 2, 2, 1, this has to be part of our 2, which means that now we've only got 1 pixel left here. That has to be our 1. Which means that this can't be filled in, which means that our vertical 3, 2, 2 has to include that. And also, that means we have to include those. Beautiful. Looking horizontally at our 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, we've got our 3 completed, so we can go ahead and X this out. Looking vertically here, we've got this 1, 2, 1. The 1 has to be in one of these 2 pixels with the 2 either here or here, which means that this has to be the other 1. That completes out that row for us. Narrowing in. Getting there. Don't know that yet. We almost know that. Alright, so looking at our horizontal 4 here. Couldn't fit the 4 right here, obviously. That has to be our 1. So that means that our 4 has to cover these 3 pixels. Which is good because that then lets us look at our vertical 2s up here. And go ahead and complete all of those out. With those completed out, we can now look at our horizontal 1, 3, 2, 2 and say, alright, that has to be the 1. The 1 has to go there. And that then lets us look at our vertical 2 there and say, alright, you can't reach to here. What else can we infer? because we can't reach to there, that then gives us the rest of our 4 here. We can look at our vertical 1, 2, 1 and say, all right, that's our 1. Which now means we can look at our horizontal 4 and say, you have to be there. So our vertical 2 is done. With our vertical 2 done, we can look at our horizontal 2 here and put that in. Done. We can now look at our vertical 2 here. That's done. Vertical 3, that's done. Vertical 2 here has to have a pixel right there, which also completes our horizontal 2 there. Because this column's done, that has to go there. This row still needs a 1, and there's only 1 pixel left, so that has to go there. That has to be closed off, which also matches to our horizontal 2. We still need a 1 here in our horizontal, so that's got to go there. And we need a horizontal 2, so that has to be 1 of those pixels. Great. We can look at our vertical 1, 2, and say, all right, 1 of the pixels here has to be filled in. And we can use that as a right edge for our horizontal 2 here, and we've got the rest of this 2 completed. Looking vertically at this 4, 1, 2. Alright, this has to be part of the 2, which means that the 1 has to go here, which means that we now know where our horizontal 3 is. Looking a touch farther. We've got this vertical 2, 2, 2. Well, we got one of the 2's. This pixel can't be filled in because then it would be a 3, which means that these pixels do have to be filled in order to make them 2's. That means that this cannot be filled in because the 2 horizontally wouldn't reach, which then tells us, alright, vertically, this has to be a 2. Also, horizontally, it has to be a 2. Leaves us with only 2 pixels left for that 2 to go. Leaves us with this 2 needing to be completed. Bam. I should like zoom out my OBS so that I can see what these are at a distance. It's gold bars. Gotcha. Cool. Alright. That's Nonogram 48 in the back on a Nonogram 49. It is 14 wide and, 9 wide and 14 tall. So, at 9 wide, space 3, 4. You can go ahead and assert these 2 because 1, 2, space 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 3, 4, space 1, 2. So we don't know anything about the 2 yet. I mean, we know stuff about it, but not much. We have basically the opposite situation on this row with this 4, 2. Doesn't really narrow things in for us much. What about this? 1, 2, 3. So 1 space 1, 2 space 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 space 1, 2 space 1. Okay, that means that this one's also filled in. Space 1 space 1, 2. Yeah, this pixel has to be filled in. And similarly, 1, 2, space 1, space 1, 2, 3, space 1, or 1 space 1, 2, 3, space 1, 2. There we go. I really need to start using my little like half-filled marker more. With those filled in, we can look at our vertical 2, 2, 1 here and say, all right, we've got a 2. Done. We can also look at our vertical 1, 2, 1, 2, 1 and say, this pixel can't be filled in because then we would have a 3 in there. That gives us the rest of our 3 here. It is great because now we can say none of this is filled in because the 2 won't reach. With that in place, I think we can actually start completing some stuff. No, but we can start narrowing some stuff in. So, 1, 2, space 1, 2, 3, 4. Or 1, 2, 3, 4, space 1, 2. So, we know that this pixel has to be filled in. and we know that these 3 pixels have to be filled in. There's just 1 pixel wiggle room there now. With that in place, we can look at our vertical 3, 1 and say, all right, there's not room to fit a 3 above this, so this has to be filled in. Means that we can close that off. That then lets us say, all right, couldn't fit a 3 over here. That's got to be closed off. Which almost lets us put our top 3 in, but not quite. Here we go. Looking horizontally, we've got this 2, 3, 1. Well, we've got a right edge on these 2 pixels. Couldn't fit a 3 right here and a 1, so this has to be our 3. Means that that has to be our 2. Wonderful. That lets us narrow down now, actually. This vertical 2 couldn't reach any of these pixels. Also gives us a right edge on our 4, 2. 2 can only fit one way now. This has to be one of these 2s, and this has to be the other, which means that we can actually X out a bunch more. Not that I think we really need to. Here we go. Looking vertically, we've got 2, 2, 2, 2. That has to be one of the 2s right there, which means that this has to be one of the other 2s. Great. There's only room vertically for the 3 to go, like the 3 has to fill that pixel in. Means that we can go ahead and X a couple of these out. Cat wants to get in my lap. Looking vertically. Weird that it displays like that. Looking vertically, we know that this has to be a 2, so that has to be filled in like that. We know that this one has to be a 2, so that lets us fill that in, which is great. Looking horizontally, we know that we need a 3 there, so that can go ahead and be filled in, which lets us now confirm that that vertical 2, 1, 1, or I'm sorry, 2, 1, 2, 2, 3 has to be like that. We still need one more pixel on this one above the 2 that we've filled in, so that goes there. Means that we now know that. We now know, looking at the vertical 2, 2, 1, that this has to be filled in, which means that we're done with the 2 here. That lets us complete that there, and we can also plug this in because that's a horizontal 1, 2, 3. We can look at our vertical 2, 2, 1. That has to be one of the 2s. Wonderful. Still need one more pixel over here, so that lets us fill that in. Cat says hello. Which means now we can close that out, which now gives us a right edge for our 4, so that's done. That can be filled in. Beautiful. Couldn't fit a 2 right here, and also the vertical column is done. Done, that means that this has to be filled in to fulfill that horizontal 2, and a horizontal 2 can only fit in the remaining 5 spaces like that. Oh, hiccups. Looking vertically, we need a 2, 2, 1. Well, we've already got it. Done. And then same thing over here, so vertical 2, 2, 1 completed. Looking vertically at this 1, 2 that we've already completed, and then a 1, so that's got to be blanked in, and a 2 like that, done. That gives us a right edge for this horizontal 2, and there's only one place for this 2 to go. Looking vertically, we need 2, 1, 2, 2, 3. Well, that only fits one way now. That means that all these horizontal 1s are done, and this needs 2 pixels, and this needs 1 pixel. There we go. Stalactite? I think it's a stalactite. It might be like a jousting lance, or something. I'm not sure. Alright, moving on to Nonogram 50. This is 13 wide and 13 tall. No, I'm sorry, 14 wide, 13 tall. And we've got a nothing row, which I love, because that lets us immediately rule a bunch of stuff out. Nothing on that, which means that there's nothing here, or here vertically, or here, or here. Which then in turn lets us look at our horizontal 6 and 4 here and say, well, couldn't fit a 6 or a 4 there or there. 6 could only go one way. And the 4, there's 2 pixels of wiggle room. We have to fill those in. We can also look vertically. We've got some 2s and some 1s. The 1 means that there can't be anything there, and the 2s mean that they have to be there. So we've already filled out the bottom third, basically, of this. We haven't even barely started. 2 pixels of wiggle room on this vertical 8. Same story right here. Another symmetrical nonogram. We've also got these vertical 10 ones. There's only 10 pixels left, so we'll go ahead and fill those in. So there we go. Fantastic. Got these horizontal 3s that couldn't reach. We've also got this horizontal 6. Means that these have to be continuous, and we've actually already completed them. So that's our 6. We can look at our vertical 1s up here and say, all right, that's Dunsky, which gives us everything we need to know now about our horizontal 3s. We've got a vertical 2 and a vertical 2 that we can go ahead and complete. That actually tells us a lot on this row right here. We've got a horizontal 2, 3, 3, 2. Well, you can only really fit that in one way. That then lets us look at our vertical 4s and say, all right, well, these 3 pixels have to be filled in, and these can't be. We'll go ahead and close those out. You can also look at this horizontal 6 and say, all right, well, it has to be one thing, and we're already done with it. Beautiful. Vertically 8 can only fit in the remaining pixel there, so we're done with that. I think that there's only really one way for us to fit this in. Not totally sure about that though. Alright, looking at this row, we've got horizontal 1, 8, 1. Well, there's our 1s, and the 8s have to be continuous, so that's them there. All nice and completed. Now we can look at our vertical 2, 3 and say, alright, well, there's only 3 pixels left, so that has to go there, and this has to go there. We can look at our vertical 2 2s here and say, alright, well, that has to be filled in, and that has to be filled in, which does complete our horizontal 4s. Means that they have to come down to here, which means that they have to be completed. So, we've got a vertical 2, so that has to be completed like so. And because of this horizontal 4, bam, has to be done. Mushroom! Nonogram 50 in the bag. Moving right along to Nonogram 51. Alright, it's 12 wide and 9 tall. At 9 tall, these 5s actually have to fill in this pixel right here. And we can look at our horizontal 1, 1, 1, 1 and say, alright, well, that means that those ones have to be completed. Wonderful. Our vertical 4, 2, these 2 pixels have to be filled in. That help us with that? Not really. There's still room for this pixel here to be either part of the 4 or the standalone 1. We just don't know. We'll leave that be for now. What else can we extrapolate? Not a ton. But we got something. So we've got this horizontal 2, 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This pixel has to be filled in. Which now lets us say this is either part of the 1 or the 3 vertically. Either, if it's part of the 1, then there's nothing above it. If it's part of the 3, then this pixel has to be blanked out in order to make room for the 1. So we know that there's nothing here. And there's not room for 2 3s on this side of that X. So one of these horizontal 3s has to be filling in these 2 pixels. Just has to. With that in place, we know that this pixel can't be filled in because this has to be one of our 2s and there's not room for another 2 above this X. So one of the 2s has to be down here. That's something. Not a lot. Wait, I've just made a logical... Oh, let's see. This can't be there, but there actually is room for both 3s to be over here. So I was wrong there. Rewind everything I just said. Oof. That's probably still right about one of them being over there, but maybe not. So we're not going to take guesses. We're just going to do. Alright, what else can we infer? These 6s being here on a 12 is so painful because they just don't quite completely overlap with themselves. It hurts me. Hold on. 1 space 1 2 3 4 or 1 space 1 2 3 4. Okay, so yeah, there's enough room for this 4 to completely not overlap with itself, which is a little unfortunate. So we can't fill in any more of this row yet, not with confidence. I'm starting to feel like I'm gonna have to start guessing, or at least like making educated guesses. This one's tricky. Still room for this to be either part of the 1 or the 3. Asymmetry here is really starting to bother me, because I feel like that's the way to approach it. The little bit here feels like it has to be relevant. This is a good one. This is Trixie. And if I could just get one edge going, this whole thing would unravel immediately. Just don't quite have enough to do anything like confidently. That's Trixie. This one's got me a little bit stumped in terms of like where to go from here. All right, we're gonna start just guessing because I need to make moves, and I'm sitting here just stroking my beard, not making moves. So let's test out the idea of this. Let's test out the idea of this is part of the 3. So if this was like that, that would have to be there. That would tell us that this is part of the 4. That would mean that this would have to be filled in. This would have to not be filled in, which would mean that the 5 would have to go here. And this would have to be filled in. This would have to not be there. Give us one more pixel of the 5. I mean, this wouldn't be filled in. Man, I'm really kind of shooting myself in the foot not putting the X's here, so I'm going to start putting the X's. Have to be like that. Already lost why I lost why I did something. So, all right, say that this is part of it. I'm just gonna go ahead and do stuff. That goes like that. This has to be part of the 4. Makes this part of the 4, which means it has to fill in this pixel, because if it's all the way over here, there wouldn't be room for a 1. That filled in, that means that we have to X this out, which means that this has to be the 5 there, which means that this has to be filled in, which means that this can't be filled in. This has to be filled in. This can't be filled in. There's just one more pixel here, and several pixels up here. Because this is a 3, that means that has to be filled in there, which now gives us our edge. Great. This is our 2. So there's our 6. These 2 have to be filled in. This has to be filled in. This has to be filled in. The rest of our 3 there. So now we've got the rest of our 5. There's the rest of our 2 there. There's a 1 there. There's a 2 there. Same story over here. Vertical 2. Horizontal 3s have to be going like this. Vertical 1. Vertical 1. Horizontal 4 has to be like that. Vertical 2, can't fit anything there. Can't fit the horizontal 2 anywhere but here, and this row is nothing but 1s, which means that has to be filled in. We've got a horizontal 6 that has to take up all of these pixels. That completes that column. That row has to be like that, because we've got the vertical 1. And there's another vertical 1 right there. Alright. Guessing worked. It got us to the record. I don't love how I had to just like make a guess and run with it. I imagine there's something obvious that I was overlooking, but there we go. Nonogram 51. Took a lot longer than I expected. Nonogram 52, 10 wide and 13 tall. Well, making this one easy on us because we've got a couple of 10s right here. And with those 10s in place, we can look at these vertical 3s. Go ahead and close out a bunch of stuff, which lets us look at this horizontal 8 and say, all right, it has to be filled in. Because that's filled in, we can look at these vertical 7s and 11s and say, well, these have to be filled in. And I can go ahead and X out right here because I've got these horizontal 2s. I can also look at this row, horizontal 3, 2, 3. Well, the only way we can fit a 2 in between those 2s like that, and the 3s, Dunsky. That completes these columns for us. We can also look at our vertical columns here and start filling in a bunch more. Vertical 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 at least has to go to there. We can also look at now our horizontal 3, 3 and say, all right, we know exactly where that's going to go. Looking at our vertical 11, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 has to reach up to at least there. And that completes our horizontal 1s, like that. And our horizontal 2, 2 couldn't reach to here. We know that these have to be our 1s, which leaves us with only 2 pixels left to do that. With that in place, we can look at our vertical 1, 1, 6 and say, hey, there's only room for the 6 to go one way, like that. And that lets us look at our horizontal 1, 2, 1 and say that's got to be our 2. With that in place, we can look at our vertical 2, 1, 2, 2 and say we've got a 2, we've got another 2. This has to be a 1 because that leaves just enough room for the 2 there. With that in place, we can look at our horizontal 4 and say that's got to go here. With that in place, we can look at our horizontal 2s and say it can't reach to here, which couldn't anyways because of the 7s. 7s do have to come down to this. That lets us X that out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Goes there. And it gives us flippers, I think. Yeah, I think that's the flipper item. Alright, on to Nonogram 53. We are 11 wide and 12 tall. Alright. At 11 wide, this 6 has to overlap itself by at least that much. And at 11 wide, our 8 has 3 pixels of wiggle room, so it has to overlap itself by at least that much. That gives us something here, because that gives us a bottom edge for this vertical 2 And then because we've got only ones left in here, that lets us X that out. Same thing with this column and this column and this column. With those X's in place, we can look at this row, which is just a 2, and say, can't fit a 2 right here. What else can we deduce? And I feel like the 1, 4, 1's probably the best. So 1 space 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1 space 1, 2, 3, 4. So this pixel has to be filled in, which is good news because that gives us the rest of this column. We can go ahead and X all this out. Does that narrow down much more for us? Not really. Off cat. All right. Doesn't really help us there. Doesn't really help us there. Look at vertically. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. X. 1, 2, 3. X. 1, 2. Beautiful. So that column sorted. That then lets us completely fill in those. So we know that they're going to have to be part of that single 6. We also can say, all right, there's going to be nothing here because we couldn't fit 8 in there. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Our 8 only has 1 pixel of wiggle room left. So it's going to have to go in here. With that in place, we can look at our vertical 1-1s and say, all right, we know that this is X'd off there. We can look at our horizontal 1-1 here and say, all right, that's closed off. We know that that's going to have to be like that. And we can look at all of these horizontal 2s and say, you're not going to go anywhere on here or anywhere on here. Big old blank space on this one. With all of that X'd out, that means that we now know for sure that this column, this 1, 1, 2, this first pixel has to be a 1. With that in place, that means that we now know for sure that this row, this horizontal 1, 1, has to have a pixel here. That does let us pull some stuff out of the running on that vertical 3, and we can also, while we're at it, close off this these spaces for this row here because we look at the 6 and we know that the 6 can't reach. Similarly, we can look right here. Those 2 filled in pixels on this row have to be separate blocks, and neither of the 2s could reach to there or to here. We can fill in a little, we can X out a little bit more here. Looking vertically, we've got all these 1s. Has to be closed here, has to be closed here, which means that our 2 here we know has to be like that. With this in place, we can go ahead and make an assumption. We've got this vertical 5, 2. There's no way to fit a 5 down in here. So the 5 has to go right here, which does let us completely close out that top half. And our 2, we know that the 2 could only reach up to here, so that means that we've got those columns, those 1s closed out. Beautiful. We can go 1 pixel further to the right now on our horizontal 1, 4, 1 because we've X'd out a bit more of the possibility space. Let's see. I need 2 more pixels on this vertical column, and there's only 2 spots left, so one of them has to go here, one of them has to go here. With that in place, that lets us close out our 8, which means that we now know where the rest of our 3 is. Our horizontal 1s have to be closed like that. That completes this column. We can look at this column here. We've got a 1 and then another 1, which means that our 2 has to go here. Which means that we've now finished out our 6th. And we can say this vertical 2 here has to be here. It means that this has to be part of our 2 there. The other 2 has to go here. One of the pixels could be the left or right of it. We don't know yet. But we've got at least something. Looking at our vertical column here, we've got this 1, 1, 1. It's got to be like that. We need a pixel here, so that can be filled in. That gives us a left edge for our 4. And now we can look at this column and say this pixel has to go here. We've got our scuba mask. Alright, that was nonogram 53. On to nonogram 54. Nonogram 54 is 14 wide and 14 tall. Oof. No big easy numbers to start with other than this 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We've got 6 pixels of wiggle room, so only 2 pixels of the 8 necessarily overlap with itself. That's not giving us a ton to start with. But we do have this 6, 3 here as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, space 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3, space 1, 2, space 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we know that these 3 pixels of the 6 have to overlap with itself. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so cool. That gives us something, not a ton. Can we do something similar anywhere else? 1, 2, space 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can fill that pixel in, so that's something. What about this 262? 1, 2, space 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, space 1, 2, or 1, 2, space 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, space 1, 2. Am I doing this right? I feel like I'm miscounting somehow. 1, 2, space 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, space 1, 2, or 1, 2, space 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, there we go. My brain is abandoning me. Not a good sign. Yeah, because it's 12. 262 requires 10 filled in pixels with 2 empty pixels of space. So that's 12 pixels, and this thing's 14, so it's got 2 pixels of wiggle room. So yeah, it makes sense that the 6, 4 of those pixels have to be filled in. I'm caught up now. All right, looking vertically, we've got 1, 2, 2, 2, and 2, 2, 2. So we know that these columns where we've got these 2s, those have to be complete units by themselves, which is great news because that now gives us the rest of our 6 here. We know that this has to be our 6, which means that we've now contracted our possibility space by this entire column over here. With that being the case, we can now say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Our 8 can grow over a pixel. Same thing with our 6, I believe. Yeah. And we can actually go one step further and say that these pixels have to be filled in. Because 1, 2, space 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, space 1, 2. So there we go. Doesn't super help us with that. But looking vertically, we've got a 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. Well, that has to be a 2. And this also has to be a 2, so we can go ahead and close that out. We can actually go a little bit further on here. Need all that. So, feel silly. This vertical 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, there's only one solution for that in this 14 pixel tall image. So, oops. We've got this horizontal 1, 1, so this has to be a 1 pixel image. We've got this horizontal 4, 4. Those 4s can only fit in a couple of ways now. Looking at our vertical 3, 3, this pixel can't be filled in, which means that we now know one of our 3s and the other. Great. With that in place, we can say, all right, can't fit a 3 here, can't fit a 4 here, can't fit a 4 here. We know that this has to be one of the ones. We can look at the 3 and say it has to come out to at least here. We can also now look vertically again and say, all right, 1, 3, 1. This has to be the 3, which means that we already know our 1 here. That gives us a left edge for this rightmost horizontal 2. It's in there, which gives us an anchor point for our vertical 2, 3, specifically the 3, has to go in there. Couldn't fit a vertical 3 or 2 in here, so go ahead and close those off. All of this in place, we've got our horizontal 4 already filled out right here. That is good news. We can make some intuitive jumps here. We've got a vertical 1, 2, 3, 2. This has to be either the 3 or the 2. Means that this pixel has to be filled in, which means that has to be the 3 and the 2 has to go down here. We can look down here and say, all right, that completes the 1, 1 of this row. We can also look at this one and say, all right, we need a horizontal 2, 1, 1, 2. So that's one of the ones, and this has to be the other one of the ones. Phenomenal. Looking vertically, we've got a 2, 2, 1, 2. And so yeah. This pixel has to be that 1. This pixel has to be part of that 2. Whether it goes up or down, we're not sure yet. That only leaves a couple places where the other 2s could go. Looking vertically, we've got this 1 that we've already filled a pixel in for, so we can go ahead and close that off. Which lets us now determine where those 2s have to live. We can also go ahead and close off some space from this horizontal 3. Ooh. I've made a mistake somewhere. Because I've got a situation here that couldn't happen. I need a vertical 3, 3, and there's no way to sort that. Dang it. Oh no. Alright, let's start rewinding and see if we can spot where we made the error. I wish I had a forward. I've got an undo, but it's destructive, that you can't redo after you undo. Let's completely reset, and we'll try again. So starting with this one that completely fills itself out. There we go. We've got a column that completely closes itself out, and that column is going to let us narrow the possibility space here substantially, because nothing can go there, and that has to be like that. All right. One, 4, 5, 6. Means that those three have to be filled in. And also does mean that we know that we couldn't reach to here. No, it doesn't mean that. That's the wrong conclusion to take. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Couldn't reach to here. Getting there. Alright. Let's look vertically. We've got this gap here between our x's. We couldn't fit a 3 or a 2 there. Couldn't fit a 2 here. End of list. That. Looking at this row, we've got this 4, 4. We can't fit both 4s on the right-hand side of this. So one of them has to go over here. Looking vertically, we've got this 2, 1, 1, 1. That means that this has to be one of our ones. There's just no way that it's not. That does let us close some stuff off. Look at our 2, 6, 2 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, space 1, 2. So this has to be filled in. 1, 2, space 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So those pixels we can be confident have to be filled in. Means that we can be confident that this pixel is not filled in because these two have to be part of the 3 and I just couldn't reach. Confident about any of that. Looking vertically, we've got our 1, 2, 2, 2. That's got to be part of our 2, which lets us know can't do anything down here. There's just not enough room. There's not enough room for a 3 to fit underneath this. So this has to be part of our 3 vertically. Our 1, 2, 3, 2. Nope, I'm being an idiot. I'm getting dyslexic. This is definitely going to have to be the last one. I can feel my brain starting to turn to mush. Alright. With these in place, see what else we can infer. Look at this 2, 6 here. Couldn't fit both the 2 and the 6 on the right-hand side. The 2 has to be some of this, which means that the 6 has to be over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we can say that those 5 pixels have to be filled in for Jesus brain, come on. For the 6. Doesn't super help us though. Still a lot of ambiguity about what those might be part of. Yeah. Okay, looking vertically, we've got this 1, 2, 2, 2. We've already got one of the 2s in place. There's only one way to fit the rest of it into here. That gives us that. Can say with confidence that the 4 couldn't reach to here, and the 3 couldn't reach to here. We also know that we need a 4 here. At most, it could reach to here. For this pixel. It might go the other way. We don't know. We couldn't fit both the 3 and the 4 on either side of this, so the 3 has to fill in this pixel, and the 4 has to fill in this pixel. Got a 5. This has to be part of the 5. The 5 couldn't reach out to here. This has to be part of the 6. Couldn't reach out to here. Man, I'm really going the long way around to find this vertical 1. Vertically, we've got this 2, 3. That pixel right there is not big enough for a 2. Which does give us a strong clue about our 3 there. Right? And it leaves us with only one possible solution left for this column. 2, 3 has to go in like that. That's going to be good for us because that now gives us, alright, we've got a horizontal 6, 3. This pixel is filled in, which means that the rest has to be like that. Completes our 6. We've also got this horizontal 2, 6. Well, with that pixel filled in, we know that the 2 can't reach over to here. We know that we can't fit an 8 over to this space. Doesn't help us. Doesn't help us. That doesn't help us. Right. Looking vertically, we can be confident. 1, 2, 3 column. This pixel cannot be filled in, because then it would be part of a 3, and we can't fit both the 2 and the 1 above it. So this pixel is definitely blanked out. It means that that's the 1, which means that this has to be the 2. So our 3 has to fill in this pixel at the very least, and can't occupy this space. With this pixel filled in, that now gives us the rest of our 2 there. Narrowing in on you. And that completes our 2 here. Good stuff. Means that this has to be one of the 1s. That lets us close that off. Looking vertically, we've got the 2, 2, 1, 2. This has to be, we have to fit one of the 2s down in here, so this has to fill in this pixel. Means that this has to be the 1 right there, which means that this has to be the 2, and the other 2 has to go there. Alright, nice. That lets us close out this row for the 3. Gives us one of our 1s on this row, and close this out. We know our 4 now. We can also confidently say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, closed. We know where that 6 goes. Also say that this horizontal 4, 4 here has to go here. Looking vertically, we've got 1, 3, 1. Couldn't fit anything other than the 1 right there, so that has to be closed off. Which means this has to be part of the 3. We couldn't go here, because then it would be a 4. So that has to be the 3. That closes that column off. With that closed off, can we make any more assertions? We can say that this pixel can't be filled in because the 3 couldn't reach. These pixels have to be filled in because they're part of the 8 horizontally. It means that we've completed a 3 vertically here, and we know that couldn't fit a 3 here, couldn't fit a 3 here, so it has to be here. That completes that column. It means that our horizontal 4 couldn't reach to here. Looking at the vertical on this one, we've got a vertical 1, 2, 3, 2. Well, that has to be our 1 right there. And this has to be our 3, which means that we need a 2 after it and a 2 before it. There we go. That completes that column. And look at this column. No, not quite yet. Look at this, say, alright, our horizontal 4 couldn't reach to here. Means that our vertical 2, 3 couldn't reach to here. This, if we filled this pixel in, that'd make the 3, and we'd need to fit the 2 in here, which we can't. So it can't be, this pixel can't be filled in. It means that this has to be our 2, and this has to be our 3. Done. That gives us the right edge for our 3, and also the only remaining pixel for our 3 there. This has to be our upper 3 because there's not room for another 3 to go above it in this vertical 3, 3. So we can X this out. And we can also say, alright, what's the, if this came down to here, space, 1, 2, 3, these 2 pixels have to be filled in for our other 3. That lets us look at this row, our horizontal 2, 1, 1, 2, and say, all right, we got our 2, and we got our 1 here, so that row is done. Which lets us look at our horizontal 4, 4 here and say, all right, that's got to go there and not there. Does mean that we can finish Xing out this column at long last. With that column X'd out, we can complete our 2 here horizontally. Very nice. We can also fill in 1 more pixel here. I do believe means that we're done with that column. Yes, we are. We've also got a completed 3 here in this column, which means that we can finish out that. That confirms our 5, 1. 5 has to go there. Beautiful. This column here needs a 2, 1, 1, 1. Means that has to go there. Completes our horizontal 4 here. This column needs a vertical 2, so that's got to go there. And then it needs another 2, so it's got to have a pixel here. Then it needs another 3, so it's got to have a pixel here, and nothing here. It does mean that this row is done. It means that this pixel has to be filled in to fulfill our vertical 3. It means that we've completed our 2 there, which means that we've got a 4 that needs to go here, and our 8 has to go here. Finally, got our little crab guy, and we are done. Having to restart on that one hurt. This video is already running over time, but tell y'all what, let's keep going. Let's get 55. So this is Nonogram 55. It is 15 wide and 14 tall. But good news, we've got a couple of gimmies right off the start. We need 7 right here, and that can only fit into 15 wide one way, and that is corroborated by this column that has nothing in it, which is going to make life a fair bit easier, I am assuming. Yeah, right off the bat, we can look at our horizontal 5, 5 here, and we can say, all right, well, can't fit both 5s on one side, so each one goes on one side. Really means that we've really got kind of like 2 nonograms here that we're figuring out. Long story short, we can look at this and say, all right, those pixels have to be filled in like that. Same story up here with these 5s and with these 5s. Similarly over here, we've got a 7, 2, 4. Well, the 7 has to fit on the left side here. Then there's only one way that the 4 is gonna fit. Like that. We can look vertically now and say, okay, we need an 8. So starting from the bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then this one's also an 8. X those out. We know that we need some vertical 1s, and there's only 1 pixel left. And really, practically, this could only be solved in one way. There we go. Bunch of columns sorted. Trying to decide just like the best way to tackle this, the one that's got the fewest mistakes on my part. This row here, we've got 2, 2, 2, 2. One of the 2's has to go here, one of the 2's has to fill in this, one of them has to fill in that, one of them has to go there. Has to be like that. Looking vertically, we've got we need a 1 there and a 1 there that we've already got filled in. We're very confident about that. Looking down, this has to be at the very least the bottom edge of the 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Similar story over here. Might go down a pixel, might go up a pixel. We don't know. But with that in there, looking at this, we've got a 4, 2, 1, 5 horizontally. Well, there's only one way to fit that 4, 2 in there, and then the 1, and then the 5. Kind of the same story over here. We need a 4 and 2 to start with. Well, we just proved that we can only fit that one way. And then we need a 3 and a 1. Well, they only fit in one way as well. Same again. We need a 1, 5, 5, 1. Well, that's only gonna fit like this. This needs a 1, 5, 2, 4. Go. Cat, you're killing my legs. We've filled out the bottom half of the map now. Go a little bit further on this. We need 2. I think I'm a little gun shy after getting the previous one a little bit wrong. All right, we need a vertical 2, 2, 1, 5. The 5 has to be like that, which means that has to be the 1, which means that the 2 has to work out like that. That one's completely sorted. With that in place, we can start ruling out some corners. We know that the 5 down here couldn't reach to here, nor could this 5 up here reach to here. That means we've got a lower edge for our 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And the 3 has to go here. That gives us a right edge to work on for this 2, this 1, and this 1. That means that we've now got our ambiguity completely taken out for our vertical 2, 2, 2, 3. So 3's got to go here, and then a pixel here and a pixel here to make those 2's. With that in place, we can look at our horizontal row here that's crazy. 1, 3, 1, 1, 3, 1. Well, we've got the 1, so this has to be a 3. And this also has to be a 3, which means that this has to be a 1 over here. And then we still need 2 1s, and there's only 2 pixels left, so they have to go here. Looking horizontally again, we need a 2 here, and we still need 2 more 2s, and there's only 4 pixels available to us, so it has to go like that. Our vertical 5, one of the 5s is already complete. Go ahead and close it out. And looking at this one, we need a 3. That's done. We need a vertical 2 that goes there. And another vertical 2, close that out. And a vertical 2, close that out. We've got one of our horizontal 5s over here already completed. Means that our vertical 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, done. Which leaves our 3 that we need, done. On this row, we just need 2s, so that's got to be closed out. That's one of our 2s left. On this row, we need horizontal 5s, so that's got to go like that. This column, we need vertical 2s, so that's a 2 right there. We've already got a 2 there, which means this pixel has to be filled in. That's our 8. That also gives us our horizontal 5 here. Means that this has to be filled in. We need that to be X'd and that to be X'd. We need this to be X'd, this to be filled in, and we need one more pixel here. That gives us some logs. Very slightly asymmetric logs. That's Nonogram 55. Alright, this one went way over, but yeah, still a good time. Thanks everyone for watching, appreciate y'all, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!